Have you prepared kohlrabi before, or have you tried it? It's kind of one of those forgotten vegetables, and honestly, I haven't had it in a long time. So I looked up the nutritional information, and guess what? This is a weight loss powerhouse right here. It's high in magnesium, calcium, and it has a lot of fiber. So let's get into it. I just harvest this out of my hydroponic garden. It's at the right size for picking because it's about 2 inches large. When they get too big, they have a tendency to get a little bit tough, so we don't want that. The leaves can be sauteed, cook them much the way you would do, say, cabbage, things like that. So I'm just gonna make it easy on myself though, and I'm gonna use kitchen shears to snip them off and save them to cook another day. And that's that. This can also be cooked, but I'm making a slaw today out of the kohlrabi. So I've made this before, so I know I like it. Now you have a stem here and a little, almost where it's gonna spread on the other end, and I'm just gonna lop that off with a knife. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a little hard to cut, but you can do it. All right, so keeping the compost in here, the easiest way in my mind is to just use a peeler. And it's like peeling an apple, okay? So pretty much that's the consistency. We're gonna go ahead and remove this skin. So this is called a purple kohlrabi, but it's white on the inside. But a pretty purple skin. I've actually enjoyed having this in the garden because it is so pretty, but it's time to eat. And if I leave it there too long, it'll grow larger and kind of tough. We don't want that. All right. So now immediately you can smell it, and it smells like a radish. Okay, if I had to describe it, but I think it's very unique. But we'll leave it at that. It's like a radish. Now I'm going to cut this into what they call matchstick, and I'm just going to cut a little more off the end to get rid of all the peel. Matchstick is just super small pieces, much like a matchstick, and that's why they call it that. So I'm going to cut it in half so I can set it on the board and it'll be stable, because when you're trying to cut something round, it's a recipe for disaster. And I'm just going to make nice thin cuts. Here we go. Nice and easy. Okay. And then take these little half moons. See how thin these are? Okay. Very thin. And I'm going to gather these up and cut through once again, and that's what's going to give us our matchsticks. I'm moving very slowly. I'm still recovering from two surgeries on my wrist, and a little of my coordination is still in physical therapy, but I'm able to do it. So I'm very excited for that. Don't mean to share my tales of woe, but it is what it is. All right, see what you're looking for? Just like a matchstick, just that size, that width. Oops, dropped some. Okay, and we're just gonna get all of that into this bowl. Okay, so I have the other, well, I got this one piece to chomp up. There we go. And notice I'm using a large knife. I have more control that way. Okay, so the other half, again, down on the cutting board, keep your fingers in, and nice thin slices. You know, if you have a mandolin, you can do it that way. If you have some kind of crazy device, but I'm not a real big fan of, you know, processors and all, because then you have to cook the darn, you know, to like clean the darn thing. And sometimes it just seems like more trouble than it's worth, but that's me. If somebody want to send me one, I'll try it. But I enjoy actually doing this. It's, I don't know. It's like my de-stress at the end of the day. I know, call me crazy. But this is such a simple slaw and a great way to enjoy this spring vegetable. Actually, I can grow it any time of the year because I'm growing it inside. But this should be a good time to find kohlrabi. You'll probably need to go to like a Whole Foods or Sprouts or somewhere like that. It's not that known, and I don't know why. It's actually easy to grow, by the way, and I have attempted it and I had pretty good luck with it. So not all things are easy to grow or worth it, but they actually did quite well, and they didn't seem to have much of a pest problem. So it might be a good garden choice, because there's nothing worse than planting something only to have the critters eat it up right when you're about to pick it. So as you can see, I've just quartered this apple, and I'm just cutting away the core right to the compost as well. And again, this is going to work just like the kohlrabi, where I am going to slice this super thin so we get these little like half moon shapes, and then we're going to cut the actually into the matchsticks. Okay, so I just stack them up so I can cut through several at a time. This apple's not hard to cut. Okay. And nice like this. If you wanted a really fine slaw, I guess you could grate the whole thing up, but I feel like that would be too fine. Kind of want to be able to bite into some texture. That's part of what's nice about this particular salad. And I'm serving this with some salmon that I'm making tonight, so it should be a nice meal. I haven't decided if I'm going to put something else with all that or not, but that's what we're starting with at any rate, is the salmon and the kohlrabi slaw. This would be a nice item to bring to a picnic or a friend's house, because they will not have somebody else bringing the same thing. Have you ever done that, where like everybody brings the same thing to the potluck? That probably won't happen with kohlrabi, because it's so kind of rare and unusual. So one way to tackle that problem. I'm almost wondering if these are easier to slice, just one piece at a time. Okay, good enough. All right. Now I'm not going to use the other half of the apple, but what I will do is squeeze some lemon juice on these pieces and save them for snacking, because I want the right, you know, ratio of kohlrabi to apple. Here's what I have so far. So I want to kind of move quickly now, because I don't want those apples to start oxidizing and turning brown on me. But once I add the vinegar, we're safe from that. So now I have red onion, and I'm trying to get really thin slices here, because we want to keep it all pretty consistent. And we'll just break them up through our fingers here so that we have these nice thin pieces. There we go, just like that. Okay. All right. Next, chopped parsley. I grew this too. Now I'm going to save a little for garnish and chop up the rest. The way I like to do that is just kind of get it in a little bunch on the cutting board, cut it in half again until you get this really small bunch, because then you have something for the knife to dig into. And we're going to chop this pretty small, because I wanted to accent the salad, not be the salad. If I was making an herb salad, I'd leave it a little bit coarser. But we want a nice fine chop here, but the garnish can be some bigger pieces. This parsley smells so good. I literally just picked it. Okay, so that's how fine I've chopped it. Here we go, into the bowl. All right. We're done with all the chopping. We have our ingredients here, so let's get going. So next, for this amount, it's probably gonna be less than a tablespoon of, this is cider vinegar. You could use lemon if you don't have any cider vinegar, but I would not use a heavier vinegar for this. White vinegar would be okay too. I just happen to like this. I'm using 2 capfuls, and we'll give it a taste. I need something to mix with. Tongs are my favorite. So I'm just going to give this a quick toss, and I may need a little bit more. I want to make sure that we get that tartness, because that's what's going to make it tasty. Also, I want to make sure that the apple isn't going to start turning on us. All right, good enough. And in this spoon, we have some coarse mustard going into it. Yeah. So this is Noble Made Course Mustard. Brand new jar. Oh yes, 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 yes. See how coarse mustard It's got that grainy look to it. And I'm just gonna put a nice teaspoonful. This is a eating teaspoon, not a measured teaspoon. So it'd be like a heaping teaspoon. The amounts you need here is going to depend. If I had a larger kohlrabi, I might need more of the other ingredients and use maybe 2/3 of the apple. I also have some citrus herb seasoning. This isn't lemon pepper. This is herbs with some lemon peel, and I think this goes really nicely in here. Giving it a quick toss. Good, good. All right. This is so pretty. All right, and I have some olive oil finally. This is a really refreshing salad, so I'm just going to give that a little drizzle. It should be the right amount, and again, I just want to get that kind of coated. Sample a piece for taste. All right, wonderful. And lastly, let's just get it seasoned. And we're good to go. And I'm going to keep this in the refrigerator until it's time to eat. So I have a brand new, check this out. I mean, this is quite the gadget. I have a salt and pepper mill that's electric, and it grinds salt and pepper, and you can adjust the sizing. So, well, let's try it. So here we go. Oh, nice. All right. I did want very fine pepper for this since it's a salad, as opposed to doing a steak or something. I would want maybe a coarser grind. Well, this works beautifully, and some salt. Just right. All right, love it. Love new toys. All right, here's my salad. It came out just the way I want it. I'm gonna go ahead and get this chilled, and I'll serve it with my dinner tonight.